A very warm welcome to you all. Our guest tonight is Teruni Ramnarain. She is an image consultant and she has even opened her school of image consulting last year, Charisma by Teruni. During this episode, she is going to explain to us more about what image consulting is and how important it is in our day-to-day life. Teruni, thank you so much for joining us in the studio of the MBC.
Thank you for inviting me.
Teruni, when a person meets you or me for the first time, their brain makes several snap decisions about you or me. This may include about our age, about our education level, about our competence, just to name a few. I think that an individual image may create an impactful first impression, right? And how exactly is someone's image important? And what is image consulting about?
First of all, we tend to relate. When we talk about image, there is a lot that comes to our mind. So that is more in terms of style, fashion, and especially these two terms, we tend to use them interchangeably. When actually, style is something which is very personal, that's timeless, and fashion is timely.
Okay.
This is why we have the term sustainable fashion, which is very much in vogue, and people tend to invest in pieces which are going to last longer. When we talk about one's image, it's more related to how we as an individual, we are putting ourselves forward, our best foot forward, be it in terms of our appearance, our confidence, our personality. That authentic self has to shine. This is what image coaching is all about, and this is where I step in.
Would you say that image consulting helped to raise a person's awareness about their power of visual messaging, communication style, and their presence?
Absolutely. Because when we talk about only having, your own perception, there are people who tend to say, je suis comme je suis, c'est à prendre ou à laisser. But honestly, if someone says that to me, je laisse, je prends pas. We need to respect others. And after all, dressing well is a form of good manners. Why would we not want to put our best foot forward? Why would we not want to, shine in our best self?
Exactly.
We all like to look good, feel good. And the reason why the hashtag self-care is very much trending, because this is where we actually give ourselves that time, the self-care time. So when every morning when you wake up, you take at least 15 minutes for yourself to get ready, you actually feel that you're going to conquer the world. And you feel good about yourself. Imagine someone who is going to office daily, and that person, honestly, when the person comes out of the bathroom after having a shower, only dresses up like literally anything that is available and does not need to be ironed. You take that and wear it to go to office. After 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe a month, the person is going to feel that, but where is the actual me? I'm not able to give myself time.
That's so true.
But when you take time to plan your outfits, you know the message that you are seeking to convey. You know how you want to be perceived by others. Of course, there is no fake thing that it's not your authentic self, because you need to have a strong value system. This is what I call the personal brand of that individual.
What are the aspects that you believe prevent a person from putting their best foot forward?
Most importantly, I think that would be more on a lack of self-confidence. Also, we tend to seek a lot of validation from others. Unfortunately, we tend to seek others' validation, maybe because of the way we've been brought up, our social culture, our family, the surrounding, what the ecosystem is. We all have an ecosystem, right? So any individual's ecosystem is what is going to shape the person's perspective. And then comes, I strongly believe in myself because I've seen my mother like this, I've seen my father like this, my sister has been doing it so well, and this is what is in our veins, our culture. It runs in the
Yes,
family
I
blood,
understand.
so I'm going to go for it. But then we also have some who maybe they've been an introvert their whole life, like myself. I've been an introvert till I decided to do something else and go for a career which is more fulfilling. I've worked a lot on myself till I've been able to accept myself, like there is that element of self acceptance. And if we go by the, I would say, Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we all do need something which is more fulfilling in our life. When we talk about our jobs, what we are doing on a daily basis, it doesn't make sense that I do something where I'm not feeling, satisfied with myself by the end of the day. I want to feel more valued, contribute more, and especially, I'd say, make a difference in the life of
Of
others.
course. Teruni, exactly. You have actually an academic background in the security and investment, right? So, what drew you to change field completely? Have you always been interested in fashion?
No, that would be a huge no. I was never interested in fashion. And like I said, I've been an introvert. There are certain styles that I was feeling very much drawn to, but given that I'm an introvert, I always thought, no, I will not be able to carry off that outfit. Eventually, there was a time where I used to see a colleague in my own team. She was always well dressed, always, every day. She's married and today she has a kid, but still, on a daily basis, she's well dressed.
Wow.
At no point in time you're going to see her like dressing
Messy,
down
yeah.
or in something, you're going to feel it's not her or what happened to her today. Always well dressed. And it actually takes a lot of effort to look effortless. This is something I realized when I embarked on my own self transformation journey. She inspired me, that lady inspired me. Later on, when I changed place of work, it was something that was admired by my fellow colleagues. In fact, they used to tell me, Teruni, there is a job that would suit you. You'd be fit for that. And I would say, oh, really? What's that? And they'd tell me, about someone who comes to organizations and then explaining to us what is grooming, what is body language, how do you communicate, interact with others. And I would say, oh, really? Okay, I'll check that. Unfortunately, we do not have any institution in Mauritius offering this course. I inquired a bit on image consultancy, but didn't find anything. And eventually, randomly, I saw an ad, but that was so quick on Instagram story that I saw only Image Academy. So there was no way for me to find out what was that. Eventually, it came again. I took it as a sign and I queried a bit to the institution. So I'm based in Mauritius. Is it something that I can do? Will I be recognized internationally? How is it going to be if
Yes.
I decide to take up the course? All the information was given to me. Eventually, it started running in the background of my mind. That was all in the background of my mind. Should I do it? It looks interesting, something I want to go for it. I didn't know the how. Obviously, I didn't know. It took, I would say, almost a year for me to decide to go for it because I had a stable income. I was growing within the organization and I was good at what I was doing. And eventually that struck me, and I said, no, let me just give myself something. And I paid for the course and offered me as a Christmas gift. It was then that I started there. Eventually, I left my job. But the pandemic hit me very badly. Eventually, for me, it was a time that I could give myself to work on something that I can make a difference. So when I came with the concept of image coaching in Mauritius, it was not only appearance, because I've been through it. I know it's not only appearance. It has a lot to do with the way you behave, the way you communicate, and especially we live in a digital era. So our digital footprint. This is how the ABCD of image is at the core of Charisma by Teruni.
Teruni, but wasn't it scary to start from scratch again, everything?
Indeed it was, but I think this is what we call that leap of faith. I only had to trust myself and either I go for it. Like, I was not expecting myself to do it, but I said, if I don't do it now, I don't know when I'll be able to do it.
Of course.
I was in a phase of my life where I could afford to do it, like give myself that opportunity to go for it, to fail especially, because we do have a tendency, you can't fail at that. And today, if I'm to say about failure, it's a huge part of success.
Yeah.
And it's what actually made me go further and innovate in my field of expertise.
It was all worth it then. Now you're able to even transform others, right?
Absolutely. When I got my first client, that was something very much unexpected because I got it by Instagram. And eventually I told myself, if I got one, it's going to come 2 or 3. And then it kept on increasing. People enjoyed what I do. And especially I started having appreciation for my journey as an entrepreneur.
Teruni, you've mentioned about behavior earlier. How do you think that behavior of a person affects his or her image?
Definitely it affects. If, let's suppose, I come to your studio and I do not even greet you, you introduce me to
Yes.
your fellow colleagues and I do not even bother to greet them, like I have a sense of, as if I have a sense of entitlement, how would that feel? I'm sure not great,
Yes.
because as humans, we all want to feel valued. That's for sure. And when we, have that ability to make someone's day, why would we not do that? Behavior has a lot to do with your upbringing and how you want to be seen by others, your etiquette. And definitely it has a lot to do with the person's, like the personality. And when you have a look at, let's say, my behavior, people do judge me on that. And they're going to tell me, I love your personality overall because of the way you say this, you say that, the way you greet others, maybe the way you communicate with others. It's not only, I always say this, when you talk about one's personal brand, it's not only what the person is wearing. It has a lot to do with how the person behaves with the family, with others, and with the overall surrounding. Because we tend to have like different personalities. At home, I'm someone else.
Yes.
In the office, I'm someone else. And in an event, I'm someone else. But eventually, people are going to know your authentic self in the long run, because it has a lot to do with your value system, which is your brand.
Do you think that sometimes a person might not be aware of his or her own potential, and that's when the image consultant helps to bring him or her to shine in the best light possible?
We do have A lot, actually. People who are not aware of their own potential, maybe they lack that, self-confidence, or they have low self-esteem. Unfortunately, we do have people in our surrounding who do not wish to see us grow. And there are people, when they lack that self confidence, they're not aware of their own potential, they tend to take others' perspective for their reality, when it's not. And when they come to me, I tell them, for your appearance, you have this and that about yourself, which are very, let's say, very good points that you can enhance, you can highlight, you have beautiful features. They're surprised because they've not been told it that way. I'm very much honest with my clients. It's not only because they are coming to me and, they are going to pay that it's going to be, you're all perfect, there is nothing to change. Of course, we need to change. The reason why they came.
Exactly.
This is
To improve
where.
themselves.
Exactly. And this is what I do. Like, in terms of making a difference, we're not going to throw the entire wardrobe, of course, but we can find other ways to use the same pieces. We can work on ourselves, and that self-work is something which is here to stay. As you continue to evolve in your life, that self-work has to evolve as well. And this is something which many of us, we do not dedicate time for it. If I ask someone, how much time do you have for yourself? The person is like, but I'm working.
Yeah.
Of course, we all need to work. But when you actually take time for yourself, you're going to feel different. You're going to be different. And this is something that people come to the realization when I talk to them, because they are most in that world where, okay, I'm working, I'm doing this, I'm getting that dress, that suit for myself because I can afford it. That's very good. But even taking time for yourself forms part of building your image.
And Teruni, in how much span of time do you see the transformation in your clients?
I would say that would depend on the person. It's also on me. But if someone is genuinely coming to me and tells me, Taruni, I've given myself 3 months and I want to see the change. Of course, you're going to see the change. Maybe before, like others would see it before you as well. It happened in the past where only one thing about a hairstyle, that was a lecturer from a university, and only one change. Her colleagues were like, wow, you look so different. But it was her own willingness to go for that change. If I ask the person to do something and you tell me, okay, I'm going to do it, but then we meet next week, the week after, you're not doing it, it's not something within my control. So I work with the person's willingness, dedication, commitment especially. If you're committed to change, we're going to find a way out. You're going to get to see your best version.
Yeah. Teruni, we've talked earlier about how the way we wear something affects and influence how others see us, respond, and interact to us. Explain to us how knowing what to wear at a specific occasion may help us to project a desired image.
If I ask you to how you want to be perceived in 3 adjectives, 3 words, what would you tell me?
Good.
How? In 3 adjectives. We all want to like the appearance aspect. We have the personality. And we also have maybe something related to our field of expertise, mostly. And this is how I work with the person. If you want to be seen a certain way, there are certain things that maybe you need to wear, but that has to be in alignment with your personality. And this is how you can make a difference. Assuming that someone is going for an interview and you are more in casual outfit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's wrong, but it depends for which job you're going for. If you're going for a fashion magazine, you want a job there. Of course, you need to show that you have, that skill in you, that fashion flair. If you don't have it, how are you going to put, your creativity? How are you going to play around with it? People do judge us. There is no denying. And when you wear something which corresponds to the image that you want others to perceive, this is how you're going to attract people to you. That is going to be an initiation point where you're going to start a conversation. Dressing as per the occasion definitely makes you feel more confident. You know that you do not have to worry about the shoes that you're wearing. You do not have to worry about maybe the clothes. Is it appropriate? Is it inappropriate? Am I looking good? These questions would not be running in the background of your mind. You'll only be focused that you've come to maybe a networking event and you just want to go and connect with people, So the reason why it's basically taking out the stress out of getting dressed.
Yeah, that's so true. So, in a way, we can say that grooming helps to enhance our self worth and build a confidence level, right?
Yes. I wouldn't say that it's everything. Grooming is everything, but it's a major part of it. It's a major building block that contributes to one's self growth. And this is how even I started. It started with appearance. I need to see the change, and then eventually I feel the change, and eventually I am the change that I was seeking to see.
Teruni, sometimes we may walk in a room and we see someone who carries himself or herself perfectly, the way they move, the way they talk. It's captivating and feels like magic. And that's what we call it, the it factor. How can an individual identify and solidify that it factor?
We all have it,
Yes.
whether we know it or not, but we all have that it factor, the X factor in ourselves that we are aware or maybe we're not aware. But if you want to actually put that forward, you want people to see that in you, you need to identify it yourself. And this comes with the self-work that you do. If you do not take time to know how you are as an individual, as a person, who is your authentic self, you'll only be imitating someone else, be it in terms of style, in terms of personality, because you've seen maybe this and that quality in someone, you think that it's something I should embody without knowing the why, without knowing whether it is aligned with my own belief system, my own personality.
So, what other techniques you will suggest our audience that may help them to identify or strengthen their personality?
I think in order for one to strengthen your personality, you need to know what you are seeking to project. If you're seeking to project yourself, maybe in terms of, let's take on a personal level, you're seeking to project yourself as being more assertive. Maybe in terms of minor decisions that you take in your life, you could start with it. But it has to start somewhere. There needs to be a starting point. That is, you know what you want, and then you start implementing it via your daily activities. Minor things, and then when it comes to major, it's automatically going to come out. But you need to at least start, because if you don't start and then all of a sudden people see you, being assertive, that's where there is the possibility of they categorizing it maybe as you're getting aggressive, and we don't want that.
We are actually drawing towards the end of this episode, but before that, Teruni, what are your ambitions now?
Now that we are officially the first registered training institute in Mauritius in the field of image coaching, we are seeking to grow the institution and offer more variety in terms of courses for people to invest in themselves, in building their own brand and their strong executive presence.
Any advice you would like to give to our audience to encourage them to come out of their shell and let their best self shine?
At times, we tend to do a bit of self sabotage by telling ourselves, no, you should not be going for this, no, you should not be going for that. Don't do it, you'll fail. I would say give yourself a chance to fail, and it might look harsh, but just get out of your own way. You're going to take that leap of faith, and it's going to be another journey of self growth.
Teruni, thank you so much. It was such a delight to have you on the set tonight and talk about the importance of image consulting.
Thank you so much. Thanks to you for inviting me, and I hope the audience enjoys knowing about how image coaching works and how it can actually make a difference in their life.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Dear viewers, we have now come to the end of this episode. Thank you for your time. We hope to catch you next week at the same time, same channel. Have a great evening.